Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I want to look at some more of my Master of Kung Fu issues, and I thought I'd start with the giant size books, which I have. Again, these are books that I bought very early on. This is a kind of mid-grade to uh, very good copy, or fine, very good to fine, I guess, I don't know, of King Size Annual Master of Kung Fu #1, and it's the first team up of Shang-Chi and Iron Fist. And so we can look through that. And our writing chores is by none other than Doug Monk. And the artist, which is one of the artists actually I liked on the series. He wasn't my favorite or the best artist on the series, but he was a good artist. His name was Keith Pollard. And this is one of the issues he did, and it's a pretty good issue. What it is it's in that time period when Iron Fist is looking for Colleen Wing, who was kidnapped and disappeared into some sort of dimensional realm. And so Iron Fist goes to London, where the Shang-Chi is basically located. At this point, Shang-Chi is working for MI6, or being contracted at least from MI6 to help Sir Dennis, Nayland Smith, Blackjack Tar, Lee Ko Wu, and all those other agents, Clive Reston, and all those other agents of MI6. Anyway, so Iron Fist, Danny Rand, goes to and meets up with Shang-Chi, and eventually they confront these fighters who are all dressed in this weird getup, and they are attacked. This evil-looking character shows up and looks on as the fight is going on. You have lots of panel by panel sequential martial arts action. We find out that the guy's name is Quanstar, and he is from a place called Sarasharn, which is kind of another version of, according to the story anyway, another version of Kunlun, the place where Danny Rand originates from. And back in this continuity, in these issues, the fabled city realm of Kunlun, which existed in another far-off dimension, well, the Kunlun wouldn't appear on in the earthly realm on the planet Earth until another 10 years. Anyway, so Danny Rand had been wandering the planet Earth for over a year, and so it would be a lot hard pressed for him to get back to Kunlun. Anyway, so he had things to deal with. He was looking for his girlfriend, Colleen Wing. Runs into this guy, Quanstar, who takes them to another dimension called Sarakarn. Anyway, interesting story, but it's a way to unite these two characters, they're the two stars, one of the primary stars of the Marvel Comics back in the day, in the 1970s, mid 1970s. So this is that issue. Eventually, they are captured, and it turns out that this guy Quanstar is actually originally from Kunlun, and is trying to take revenge on UT, who is actually the person who is the ruler of Kunlun, and is also the uncle. We find out both in the issues of Iron Fist Marvel Premiere, and in this story is the uncle of Daniel Rand. All right, so eventually they are rescued. Eventually they escape. They confront this evil villain Quan Star. It turns out that Iron Fist is really the star of the issue, because he basically steals the power, or steals the show, and uses his power to defeat the evil villain Quan Star. So there you go. And so the story ends. Interesting story. But anyway, so the next one I'll show you is Giant Size Master of Kung Fu #1. The cover, it looks like to be the work of, and this is a well-read issue. This was the original issue that I had. This is actually mine. It looks like the work of either Al Milgrom or Jim Starlin. I suspect it's Al Milgrom's artwork. The interior art is none other than Paul Gulacy. The writer, of course, is Doug Monk. And you can see Gulacy is at his best. Great story. And then you have a nice splash page look of Dr. Fu Manchu, who basically uses the elixir of immortality to keep himself alive. At this point in the stories, and this was still early on, it's 1974, Shang-Chi was still, his main antagonist was Fu Manchu. And Fu Manchu, every once in a while, would send these evil assassins, and called the Sifan, to confront and chase and try to kill Shang-Chi. Here we have him coming to the rescue of a damsel in distress. She turns out to be a villainess, also working for Fu Manchu. There's some great scenes, great artwork. Still early on, I think, for this is 74, so still early on for Shang-Chi. And it's still early for Shang-Chi to transition to his spy work. And this is another story. This is drawn by Craig Russell. The story, again, is by Doug Monk. Doug Monk did all of the writing chores for the series. And here's Frank McLaughlin. And if you remember the work of Frank McLaughlin on Judo Master, not too many people realize that he also did work for Marvel. And you can see him doing a version of Iron Fist. So, talking about Shaolin Temple boxing. Frank McLaughlin, as I said before, was a martial artist. And this is the Yellow Claw, from the pages, and it's drawn by Joe Maneely, as you can tell, from the pages of Atlas Comics. And remember, Yellow Claw was a short-run series that ran in Atlas Comics. The creation of, I think, Stan Lee and Joe Maneely. And this one is, again, Doug Monk. Ron Wilson did the art chores. Simple but short story. All right, so that's that. So that's Giant Size #1. Very interesting issue. Again, bought a long time ago when it first came on, was available. And this is #2. This is Giant Size #2. Again, Artwork, Doug Monk, Paul Gulacy. Jack Abel did the inks. And this is the first appearance of Liko Wu, who turns out to be an agent of MI6 in working for Sir Dennis Nayland Smith. And beautiful artwork, beautiful use of panels. Again, the Gulacy continuity. And there's FOOM, that fan club, the Friends of Old Marvel, a new fan club. Remember, they had the MMS, and then they had Marvel Mania, and then they had FOOM. All right, so that's that. Beautiful artwork. Just flip through the pages, and again, I like the use of paneling and the continuity. That's a special trademark of Paul Gulacy. And there's the ad for the Spider-Man medallions. And there's the Conan medallions, which I think are probably worth a lot nowadays. All right, so that's that one. And there's chapter 3. This is a nice long story. That's what I like about these old giant-sized books, is they offered, and here's Shang-Chi in a classic pose with his nunchaku. Again, that trademark Gulacy use of paneling. Very dreamlike sequence. There's Liko Wu. There's the Mantis, exploiting the mythos of Kung Fu and martial arts. And there's the maze. Great scenes, great action scenes. And this is unique. Splash page with the maze. This is quite a departure from anything you'd see in regular comic books. All right, so there's Liko. And there's Blackjack Tar coming to the rescue. And there's Joe Maneely and a reprint of the Yellow Claw. All right, probably the first time that this ever has been reprinted. The Yellow Claw, of course, was inspired. This came out is a reprint from the 1950s Atlas comics. And the Yellow Claw had I don't know if it was one issue or a 2 or 3 issue run. And the main protagonist in the series was this guy here, a guy named Jimmy Woo, I believe. And he was the main protagonist. It was a kind of a spy action series, done and drawn by the great Joe Maneely. And there's another Yellow Claw. So it is really one of the better issues. This is issue number 2. So we put that aside. And we have also a cover drawn by Gil Kane. This is Giant Size Master of Kung Fu number 3. And the interior art is Paul Gulacy. The thought is Doug Monk. The inking here is by Vince Colletta. And you'd be happy to know, as you flip through the story with the artwork, that Vince Colletta does not over ink the issue. He does minimal assistance in terms of the inking. You see, as you can see here and here, you can see the dynamism of Paul Gulacy's artwork. All right, so that's issue number 3. Again, a lot of these early stories take place in London. That's where Shang-Chi eventually moves. Beautiful inking. You can see Gulacy does his own inking in this case, as you can see there. And this is a pretty gruesome scene. Beautiful use of splashes, splash pages. And again, the classic Gulacy sequencing. He's always looking for new ways, dynamic ways of demonstrating and showing martial arts action. All right. There you see. And this looks like mainly Sifan. And here you see Dr. Petrie captured by Dr. Fu Manchu. The paneling and the text is quite wordy. Doug Monk, when is needed, certainly does a lot of the dialogue. And there you have. See, it says here, originally presented in Yellow Claw number 2. And you can see by the artwork that it is none other by Jack Kirby. And this is also from Yellow Claw number 2. Jimmy Woo is the main protagonist. As I said, the Yellow Claw was an inspiration. Dean Mullaney. If you remember Dean Mullaney, he is a writer and eventually went on to write for comic books for Marvel. So there you go. All right, so that's issue number 3. And this is issue number 4, first appearance of this guy, the Tiger Claw. The artwork here is by Keith Pollard. Writer is Doug Monk, of course. And it features the introduction of this guy here, who looks a lot like Groucho Marx. He is none other than Rufus T. Hackstabber, who makes an appearance here, his first appearance here, but he does appear later in the Master of Kung Fu continuity. This is one of Keith Pollard's best work, actually, on the series, this issue. And if you look, obviously, well written, well drawn, and Pollard does some excellent artwork here in this issue. So let's see, we have ads, of course. Back in those days, more ads added to more paper. And there's Shang-Chi looking at his past. This is actually quite comedic. Doug Monk is at his funniest with this character, Hackstabber. Let's see. Marvel superhero stick-ups. So here's a line. Wait a minute, you got the wrong man. I tell you, I was operating against my will and I haven't even made my will out yet. And even if I had, I'd never leave $7.80 to 2 despicable scoundrels. the likes of them. There you go. So that's some of the lines that are in the story. Excellent splash page. Like I said, this is one of my favorite issues done by Pollard, and one of my favorite issues altogether. The joy of the issue, of course, is the characterization, and it gives you a great denouement at the very end. So there you go. And there's the Yellow Claw again, as done by none other than Jack Kirby. All right. So that's giant size issue number 4. So that's that one. So I'll show you some of the other issues. I'll just put this aside this way. And this is issue number 30. And this is Pit of Lions. And it features, second appearance of Razor Fist. And I believe he's a villain that's been sent out by Carlton Velcro. And you saw the black and white version that I showed in my last episode. There's Carlton Velcro, the arch villain of the piece. Again, there's Dean Mulaney. Ralph Macchio, who eventually became I don't know if he was an editor or writer for Marvel Comics. Dean Mulaney wrote, and I believe he wrote a 4-issue complete 4-issue continuity of Iron Fist. Same fellow, and he went on to do some of the novels of the Destroyer series, created by Richard Sapir and Warren Murphy. That's one of the things that's unique about Paul Gulacy's work, is that he had these wide shots, these wide scenes. One of the favorite motifs of his artwork. And there's another example of that. All right, so that's issue number 30. And we have, of course, issue 31. And this is a very good copy again. See the artwork by the great Paul Gulacy and Doug Monk and Dan Adkins. So, reminiscent. A lot of this detailing is reminiscent of the influences of Jim Steranko on Gulacy's work. And here's a beautiful splash of this character, one of Carlton Velcro's many villainous supporting character there. And again, you see the continuity and the wide shot. And beautiful, beautiful stuff. Eventually, he's able to defeat her. And okay. So there you go. And he attempts to rescue her. And it looks like a James Bond almost adventure. And you see these super ships. Some great story, great artwork. Some of the best artwork in Marvel at the time, if not the best. All right, so that's 31. I'll show you 32. And cover art is by Gil Kane, Mike Esposito. And what do we have here? We have artwork, interior art by Sal Buscema, Assault on an Angry Sea. Nice looks to the characters. And these are the old Treasury editions. You remember those. Again, Doug Monk kept the series going and the continuity going in the stories. And I think that was one of the lead reasons why the series was so successful in the end. All right, so that's issue number 32, and this is from 1975. Beautiful cover. And here's another Gil Kane cover. This is issue number 33. And this is one of the key issues. And there it is. Featuring supporting characters by Sax Rohmer, Doug Monk, Paul Gulacy, and Dan Adkins. Wicked Messenger of Madness. Great martial arts action with elements of spy, science fiction, and gadgets, and all kinds of supporting characters, and heavy dialogue when it's needed, and excellent artwork when the dialogue is not needed. There's Liko Wu. Yeah, this one is an interesting story. I remember this. These are the actual back of bullet shells that are enlarged. And basically, they're the spies are kind of deciphering the clues. There you go. All right, so again, this time this way, the sequencing, the panel sequencing, a Gulacy trademark. And there's the big splash, panoramic splash page. All right, so that's issue number 33. This is issue number 34. And Cyclone at the Center of a Madman's Crown. Doug Monk, Paul Gulacy, Dan Adkins. And there it is again. Panoramic Splash. A favorite of Gulacy. Panel sequencing artwork. It gives context to the story when you can see it enlarged there. And there's this character who's introduced in the story. Oh, there is Dean Mullaney again. There you go. Very interesting characters. And there's that panoramic splash. All right. There's that last page. Mordillo. So, Captive in a Madman's Crown, issue number 34. And now we come to issue number 35. And this is writer is Doug Monk. Paul Gulacy is the artist. Dan Atkins. And the great story. Continuity. And you can see the musculature. Yeah, so as I say, an artist needs to be appreciated for their opus, meaning their entire body of work on a particular issue, not just one little issue. This is, again, a panoramic splash, but in miniature. The musculature and the fine musculature that's shown there, just reminiscent for me of the influence of Steranko on Gulacy's work. And this is a quite tragic scene. All right. So that's number 35. This is issue number 36. And this is Keith Pollard, one of my favorite supporting artists for the series. This one's called Cages of Myth, Menagerie of Mirrors. And what else? But ninjas show up on the scene. What's a martial arts story without ninjas? And tragedy has struck. Let's see. Yeah, Pollard is one of the best of the one of the top artists in the series. There were others after Gulacy left. There were others who were just as good, and we can see that in the later issues. Actually, this is an interesting one. The Sixth Mystery and a Serpent. All right, so that's issue number 36 from 1976. And this is issue number 37. And this one is cover art by Rich Buckler. And interior art is by Keith Pollard. The writer is Doug Monk. Like I said, Pollard is one of my favorites on the title. Beautiful stuff. This is an interesting story, memorable one, about beauty and ugliness. Okay. Omega, I remember when he was introduced in Howard the Duck. Early appearances. The Cat. One of my favorite issues coming up. Well, it's a double issue series. That's 37. And this is 38. This is one of my favorite issues. Cover art here is, it looks to be like Gil Kane. And the interior art here is Paul Gulacy, Dan Adkins. This is the first appearance of The Cat. It's one of my favorite issues, mainly because of the artwork and the story and that creative continuity of paneling. Just wonderful stuff. Like I say, wordy when he needs to be wordy, and when it's art, it's art. Beautiful scenery. I like the way he sets the mood for the story. You saw it in black and white. Here you see it in color. And here's a good combination of both text and story. And there's Stan the Man Lee. What a useless album that was. And here we have more art continuity. There he is, Shen Kuei, the cat. Jerry Lazar, how's that for a writer? Jerry Lazar, eh? He was one of the contributors to this. And there he is. Cat is one of the best antagonists in the entire series. Who would have made a great superhero with that cat tattoos, almost reminiscent of one of the citizens of Kunlun who tended to have tattoos on their chest like that. And there's one of the early appearances of the Eternals. And there we go, the cat. Fight without pity. And so that's issue number 38 from 1975. And issue number 39, and this will be the last issue I'll show. Again, cover art appears to be Gil Kane and Klaus Janson, signed. Interior art is by Paul Gulacy. Writing is, of course, Doug Monk. There's the cat. It's a great image. Juliet, I believe her name is. She almost looks like, I don't know, Marlene Dietrich. Paul Gulacy tended to use, as I've said in the past, photo references for the characters he created. Beautiful images. And there's that nunchuck sequence scene. To do this simultaneously is not easy. Marvel value stamp has not been cut out. And there's Bill Wu, Wayne Vincenzi, Ken Meyer. Okay, there's Foon. And the fight sequence, which is excellent. They're almost evenly matched. Oh, very tragic. This is one very tragic scene. She tries to stop the fight. And there he is. Nova. So there you go. There's the cat. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this presentation on these issues of Master of Kung Fu. There's still more. And again, some great artwork to show. This is one of my favorites, the story of the cat. So remember to give me a like, and please subscribe. Thanks everyone for your subscriptions. And I'll link videos to my other videos. I'll link to my other videos so you can see the previous episode that I presented on Master of Kung Fu. The quality of these issues were slightly better than the ones I showed before. And remember to give me that thumbs up for like. Thanks again, everyone, for your subscriptions. And as always, feel free to comment. Thanks. Bye.